So ladies and gentlemen, I think it's fair to say on the channel I often talk about the woke nonsense we see going on at the moment within women's sports where stunning and brave men will identify as women and then compete in the female category. Yes, I know, very progressive, right? However, as we all know, there are a lot of consequences that come with that. For example, women will end up losing out on places, awards, opportunities, scholarships, whatever it may be, and that shouldn't be happening. Plain and simple. But not only do women face those consequences when a dude competes in their sport, sometimes there is also a physical consequence. Yes, women in the past have got seriously injured because of this insane woke agenda, and that leads us to today's video because I'm going to be talking about Payton McNab. Now, some of you may be aware of this story, but for those that aren't, she was a volleyball player who dreamt of getting a college scholarship until, yeah, here we go, a trans athlete hit her in the head with the ball, which left her unconscious for 30 seconds and resulted in some serious injuries. She now has brain damage and paralysis on the right side of her brain, which has also apparently left walking very difficult for her. And this all happened because of what? Our very tolerant, liberal society that has put feelings ahead of truth, reality, common sense for far too long. And it has left a girl now with long-term injuries. Yes, I know, again, very progressive, right? Nah, you can also hear the liberal feminists very outraged over this one, right? Oh wait, hold on. Nah, silence. Once again, they never talk about this, and they never will, because a lot of them actually push for this agenda in women's sports, women's spaces, whatever. They'd rather complain about a dude every single day getting paid just a tiny bit more than them. Clowns. But Payton McNab has spoken out about the whole thing once again, so I think it's only right I talk about it once again, because in the past I have covered this story, but not only will we be taking a look at Payton McNab and her story, we'll also be taking a look at what her parents have had to say about the whole thing, because they have spoken out too. So a lot to get into within this episode, and it's just a perfect example of why this madness needs to end very quickly. But before we get into it, as always, if you could, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to leave a like rating, as it really helps out the video. If you're new, hit that subscribe button, turn on bell notifications so you never miss a video, comment on this video, share this video, all that good stuff, and let's get into it. So as you can see, the New York Post have reported, volleyball player fights for truth after being severely injured by trans opponent. If only my rights had been more important than a man's feelings. Again, feelings ahead of the truth, reality, common sense, the basic rights women deserve in their own sports. Left is right, up is down. Common sense, you know how it goes by now, is hard to find. Payton McNab had dreams of becoming a college athlete until a volleyball spike by a transgender competitor came within inches of her. I can't say that word on YouTube, we know how it goes, but she was 17 and it forever changed the trajectory of her life. Now in the hopes of preventing history from repeating itself, she's sharing her story in the new documentary Shot, how Payton McNab turned tragedy into triumph, created by the Independent Women's Forum. If my story can in any way help prevent this from happening to at least just one woman or girl, then it was all worth it, McNab, now 19, told the Post. I mean, it's a shame that this has happened to this girl in the very first place. She obviously doesn't deserve it, but our liberal society, once again, doesn't care about that. All they care about are the woke agendas, and the feelings of a dude matter more than anything else. Before that fateful game in 2022, McNab and her teammates at Hawaii Dam High School, I hope I got that right, in Murphy, NC, were aware of a transgender player on the opposing team but afraid to speak their concerns. "We never thought we would ever be put in this position to begin with," she said. "I didn't know one person who agreed with a transgender athlete competing against us on my team, but we didn't know what to do." Man, imagine being put in that situation. You don't know what to do. You've got a trans athlete on the other team. You're worried at the time, you know, about speaking up because you might face consequences, etc., etc. That is crazy it went on, and it's still going on now. The match was relatively uneventful until that player spiked the ball directly into McNab's head, knocking her unconscious for 30 seconds and sending the whole gym into a shocked silence. Everyone else, including the trans player, ultimately finished the game, while McNab was rushed off the court with a concussion, neck injury, and 2 black eyes. It was 100% avoidable if only my rights as a female athlete had been more important than a man's feelings. The full extent of her injury unfolded over weeks as McNab was diagnosed with a traumatic brain injury, a brain bleed, partial paralysis, and a loss of peripheral vision on her right side. She also suffered ongoing memory loss, confusion, and severe headaches. Yet you get labeled all of these crazy words, not that anybody really cares anymore, but they were impactful at a time. You know, people get labeled all of these things just for speaking out against this, just for saying, no, this shouldn't be happening. Women should not have to be competing against dudes because of situations like this. Get out of here, man. But let's now get into what her parents have had to say about it. Imagine, having a daughter competing in the sport that she loves, and that gets taken away from her because of a trans athlete, because of a dude who shouldn't be in the sport to begin with. Parents of volleyball player left with brain damage by trans opponent who knocked her to the ground break their silence and call for other families to pull your kid from games. Yeah, look, I totally agree with that. If women in the future, girls in the future, come up against a trans athlete in their sport, do not compete, because there are a lot of consequences, physical consequences again, that you can avoid. In the preview of the film, the documentary that has been made, Payton's parents, Pamela and Daniel McNab, speak for the first time of the guilt and frustration they felt as a result of their daughter's life-altering incident. Detailing the moment she received a call informing her of her daughter's injuries, Pamela said, "My first thought was, is she going to be okay? And then honestly, my second, I was mad. I was furious because we all knew this was going to happen. Did I think it was going to happen to my child? No. But we all knew. Everybody talked about it. Everybody knew something was going to happen. I would never ever let her play today if I knew what I know now," Pamela also said in the documentary. "Pull your kid, don't play. It is not worth what has happened to her to happen to anybody else's child. If my future daughter competes in a sport, and hopefully this issue is solved by them, but if she comes against a trans athlete because it's still somehow, some way going on, you can bear everything you have. There is no way, if I'm in the crowd or if I know about it, I'm staying silent on it. There is no way I'm not voicing my opinion. I'm running onto that damn field, that damn court, and saying, nah, this ain't going on. This is a farce." And I think in the future, when this does happen, because it will go on for a little bit longer, and let's hope Trump puts an end to it, but I think parents in the crowd, coaches, whatever, the adults also have to stand up for these women. I don't get when we see people in the crowd who are just silent, and they see the dude competing against a woman and say nothing. I mean, that's just me. I don't get it. But continuing with this article, the film includes raw footage of the incident as well as interviews with Payton as well as her parents and sister who have never spoken out before. In April of 2023, Payton decided to testify at the North Carolina General Assembly in favor of the Fairness in Women's Sports bill, sharing her story publicly for the first time. "I may be the first to come before you with an injury, but if this doesn't pass, I won't be the last," she said at the time, calling for a bill preventing those born male from participating in female sporting contests. Not long after, North Carolina banned trans athletes from competing in female sports at middle, high school, and college levels. Good. Now a communications student at a Western Carolina university, Miss McNabb says she continues to struggle to move the right side of her body, leading her to regularly lose her balance and suffer from falls. Her mental acuity is also damaged, with Miss McNabb requiring hours of extra tutoring every month and extra time during tests because of the damage. She has struggled with much worse vision, anxiety, and depression as she fights to recover from her injuries. Experts say there is a risk of injuries like concussion from playing volleyball regardless of the gender of the players. Yeah, but if you have a dude competing in women's volleyball, they are going to hit the ball a lot harder. Plain and simple. Common sense. Common knowledge. Yeah, seems like I spoke too soon as well, but women struck by balls hit by trans players report they are traveling faster and with more force than anything that they have previously experienced, as you would expect. Studies have also shown that transgender players in women's sports retain a biological advantage over their female opponents even years after their transition began. Wow, who could have seen that one coming? Men having biological advantages? Crazy. I know that probably upsets leftist liberals because they can't stand the truth. Oh my gosh, no. But this is just, ladies and gentlemen, as I said earlier, a prime example of why this just can't go on any longer. If it does continue, and for whatever reason it is not banned, we are going to see people suffer a lot worse injuries. And again, you would think the liberal radical feminists would have an issue with that, right? Nah. Silence. They don't care. As I always say, Stevie Wonder syndrome, right? Wait, what? No, we can't see that. We need more pay. Women are getting hurt in these sports because of a dude, and you want to stay silent on it. But I want to hear your thoughts down below on this story, ladies and gentlemen. What are your thoughts on it all? I'd like to know. But until next time, it has been your host, JD. Have a great day. Stay safe, and I'm out. Peace.